Oh shit, that's good. Wait, are we rolling?
Yeah.
Fuck! Welcome back to Comic Universe, the only geek-related channel you need in your life. And today we're going to be talking about Jessica Jones Season 2, the latest Marvel Netflix season to come out. And yeah, here's our review of it. Man, this is what happens when you drink before you do videos, people.
Yeah, you're a brave one on that. We're playing a good drinking game on that one.
Oh, well, considering what character we're talking about.
In honor of Jessica herself. So guys, Season 2. Little known fact, myself, Jessica Jones for Netflix has been my favorite Netflix series. I know it's kind of random. Most people dig the Daredevil and or now Punisher, but personally, I love the first season. Mostly because of Kilgrave, Purple Man, if you will. And he's in it a little bit this time around, but Season 2, we will be talking some spoilers, guys, so just keep that in mind. If you don't want to be spoiled, you know, come back and watch after you've already streamed and binge watched the show. But myself, man, I dug it. I really did. Yeah.
I will admit that there were some points where I was like, I don't follow with that. And there are some other things, like character-wise, I was like, it's all right. But on the whole, this was a decent season because all this is about, you know, moving past your trauma. And considering that, you know, Jessica, you know, zodded, Man of Steel, there's the better word, Man of Steel, Kilgrave. There's a lot of trauma there, and especially what the character is that we find out what the villain has and the connection that she has to Jessica is just another added-on thing, and not to mention, you know, you've got Trish, who is dealing with her own mental baggage. Everyone is trying to move past their own problems. So, but all in all, this was a really good season. So what do you want to talk about first, Dubs?
I guess first let's kind of start off at the beginning, kind of where we are. This takes place pretty much right after the second season, or the first season, I should say. And also, just, it was driving me nuts. I mentioned this to you throughout the whole season. I'm trying to figure out where this takes place within the Defenders. You know, did it come before, did it come after? And it did come after because of something she mentions, which we'll talk about a little later. So just so you guys know, this did come after those two events, this particular season.
Yeah. The other thing in here is that, you know, the actress Christian Ritter, she still is really good. The main thing about Jessica Jones is that a lot of people want to focus on self-improvement. Jones, on the other hand, focuses on self-destruction.
Yeah, and then some.
Yeah, because there's no real out she has, as she feels like. But I feel like this and the following season, we're seeing like a character growth of her becoming a hero. And especially where we leave at the end of the season, where it's not like she's going to be, oh, I'm a hero now. It's more like she's getting there.
She's open to the idea of it. You can kind of see that towards the end.
Yeah.
But what's really cool about this particular season is it really shows you, it makes you think about your own demons, you know, and how easy it is for us to just kind of wallow in self-pity and self-destruct and just do the stupid shit that we do on a daily basis, you know. And it's like when we have the opportunity, and Trish says it, you know, how many times, we all have the power to change the world. We just have to do something. Yeah. And if we all did something, the world would be a better place. It's just inevitable. It would be. But we're so focused on our own shit, okay, that we just keep destroying ourselves and destroying the people around us. So it really makes you kind of think on that. And I really dug that kind of angle that they start the show off with, if you will.
Yeah. There are some points, like, character-wise, I wasn't really too hot on, like, oh my god, like, I just really want to talk about this scene real quick, because, okay, in the season, there's a thing between Malcolm and Trish, and there's a thing growing between them, and something happens, which we'll go into with her, where she kind of manipulates Malcolm, and when she tries to get back together with him, he says the line that made me cringe so hard, where he's like, there's a hole in your soul, and I went, ah, that's CW level writing right there. Like, this, you're better than that, Netflix. Don't be CW.
Yeah, no, that eluded me, but hearing you say it makes me think that too. It is kind of cheesy in that regard, definitely. I can definitely see where you're coming from on that. The only thing, maybe I think he may not have caught the moment he was looking for as an actor, but you know, with him dealing with those demons in the previous season, I can maybe see someone that has dealt with it saying that, but maybe not. It was the delivery, I think, was probably more so the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was pretty. That part was pretty cheesy. There's a couple of other like offbeat character moments that kind of and it kind of revolves around them too. Like at first, I couldn't tell if he realized she was relapsing or using drugs. Because at first he seems to not either care and or notice, because he's just so, you know, they actually hook up in this season, Malcolm and Trish, and he's kind of wanted her for a little while apparently, and
which comes out of nowhere. I was like, was there any hints of that in season 1?
No, I didn't see it in season 1. I mean, she's an attractive girl, so I mean, and considering what he's in one of the things that he deals with in the show, sorry, kind of bouncing around, but it all kind of plays together. One of the things he's dealing with is he's traded in one addiction for another. He's moved on from drugs, but he's kind of filled that space
with sex.
And he's essentially going on different websites and hookup dating websites where it's just a one and done deal, like come have sex, and it's not even like dating websites. It's just like bang and then
it's Tinder
out the door. Yeah, basically, it's exactly what it is. And so you know, he's so focused on the booty, if you will, that he almost seems to not notice and or care that she's clearly addicted to drugs again. And I was kind of, because Malcolm's actually one of my favorite characters, and I don't know why, especially in this season. He's really interesting. But
also, did you know he was a Power Ranger at one point?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mentioned it to Taylor, and Taylor, my wife, she tells me all the time, yeah, you told me that already. I was like, yeah, I think it's kind of cool he used to be a Power Ranger.
Yeah. What was the Red SPD Ranger?
Well, yeah, I was going to say Red Ranger, yeah. But there's this first scene where he sits down next to her while she's binging on the burrito, and I thought maybe that was where he was going to kind of, I could see that you're not feeling so well, but he just sat next to her, held her burrito, and said, oh, you spilled something on your shirt. And I'm like, wait, so you do or you don't notice that she's tweaking right now?
Yeah.
But, so it kind of drove me crazy that they didn't really touch on it until like 3/4 of the way into their relationship. But yeah, other than that, I really don't have much bad to say about it, but that particular part was probably my biggest thing that stood out that annoyed the hell out of me was that.
Yeah. And Trish herself, she has some interesting character moments, but the real thing is that kind of made me go, well, this is suddenly becoming a thing. Because they touch on it in season 1, but they don't make it a major thing, because she's like, yeah, I'm just the sidekick, I can live with that. But in season 2, it's really like, I want powers of my own, I want to be a hero. And I guess it's the drugs really messing with her.
Right, no, yeah.
It's really messing with her mind. She takes Simpson's inhaler, which is filled with this kind of pseudo super soldier serum, which, by the way, I'm surprised they killed him off, because that character is so integral to Born Again, which is obvious where we're going to go with season 3 of Daredevil. So I'm wondering, did they not want to do that, or are they going to bring him back? I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, plus he's a really good like adversary for even like the Punisher or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's many ways they could use him.
I was kind of wondering, because it feels like the more we head towards Daredevil season 3, the more it feels like it's going to be a Born Again / Guardian Devil kind of story.
Yeah.
Without Mysterio, obviously.
Although that would be pretty cool. They are working together now. You never know what we'll
But
get.
you ain't gonna see him in Netflix.
I don't know, man. I've lost faith that we're gonna see him in the movies. So.
Have you not seen all the hype around that character? Anyway, the other thing in here is that we all, speaking of heroes, we got the introduction of a certain superhero.
A certain speedster, if you will.
Yeah, not of the scarlet variety, though.
No, of the yellowish variety.
That's right, the Wizard shows up.
Yes, in all his yellow basking glory.
Yeah.
Yes, so the Wizard shows up, and as soon as to use a wrestling term, I marked out, or I fanboyed out once his name was dropped. But then I was actually kind of into my phone at the time when they mentioned what he calls himself. And I popped my head up, and I see this obese, bearded man, and I was just like, that's not the Wizard. But the fact that he was even there and that they shed some light on such a little-known character and someone from Marvel's past, like he's, we're talking World War I type of character, if you will.
Well, World War II.
Sorry, that's what I meant. World War II type of character with Cap and Submariner and whatnot. But just the fact that they even brought him in was kind of cool, and you could tell it was just fan service, to be honest with you. The CG that was kind of used to make him move was a little cheesy.
Yeah.
But he's not really... Well, he's not the Flash. He's not Quicksilver. He just whizzes by. That's where he gets his name. So he's not super, super fast. He's just faster than your average person. So he just kind of scuttles around everywhere.
Someone needs to do like a super cut with the, you know, the whole like, what's the name of that orchestral piece? It was like, it's always used for bees and shit, or moving, like a montage that's speeding through stuff. You know the one.
I think it's called Flight of the Bumblebee or something.
Yeah.
Flight of the Bee or something.
Just
like that.
Someone needs to do that with Whizzer in a supercut. Like every time he runs, like.
But yeah, he just basically he whizzes around everywhere and get your mind out of the gutter, people. No, but he just kind of floats around and runs around. And when Jessica first finds out and she starts chasing him, before his unfortunate,
demise.
Marvel seems to like to do this to speedsters. This is the second speedster they've killed, and they just have a thing against speedsters. It seems like they don't like the idea of having people with speed powers.
Yeah, I guess the only one left in the MCU is Yo-Yo in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. unless she's friggin' dead now.
I mean, yeah, I'm not caught up to date on that, but who knows?
Yeah. The other thing in here is that this really delves into the experiment of Jessica Jones and where that all plays out. And the villain in here, or villains I should say, are not really villains, but more like something that, it's like a scar that Jessica really needs to that really needs to heal. And I guess the main thing in here is that we find out that it's her mother.
Yeah, that her mother didn't die in the accident, but her mother's been alive all this time. And at some point in her life was actually kind of interacting in her life. We find that out about 7 episodes in, give or take, with a flashback of kind of things that happened. But yeah, her mother didn't die, her mother's been alive, and her mother has super strength beyond Jessica. So when that found out, when they mentioned that, I'll be honest, my jaw hit the floor. I didn't see that coming. I don't know if it was as plain as day or not, but yeah. I myself didn't see it coming. So I was like really intrigued at that point. She's deformed. She's hideously deformed initially, but then she eventually kind of heals. But the back of her head is still all scarred up, and she wears like all these different synthetic wigs and things like that. So. But it was cool to kind of see that kind of come out, and it's like a character, like it's a very difficult challenge for her, because it's like for any of us, like you want to do what's right, but it's your mother. Yeah.
And the other thing is like, and this is not so much a rag on, but it's more like a question that makes me go, did this character really need to be Typhoid Mary? Because that's what she was supposed to be, and I'm like, you could have just made her Jessica's mom and not give her the code name, because they don't even call her Typhoid Mary. Or Mary in general. They just say mom.
Mom. Well, they say Miss Jones a couple of times.
Yeah, Miss Jones, yeah.
And whatever.
But did this really need to be Typhoid Mary in the MCU?
No.
Yeah, not really.
I mean, could just maybe chalk it up to some fan service trying to cram hole as many. Yeah. Something that I had mentioned to you, something that I felt that coming out of this, I mean, I'm not the most versed in Alias storylines. Enough again to kind of hold a conversation, but to me this felt like one of the first times they really want to tell almost maybe their own story to a certain degree. Like I felt that it wasn't held down by the things that happened in the comic book, if you will. At least again, it may maybe surpass my knowledge of Alias, but I haven't heard of that particular storyline. So to me it felt fresh, it felt exciting, and gave me kind of hope for things moving forward, that we don't always have to necessarily take a storyline out of a comic book and bring it to the pages. We may be able to tell unique stories just using the characters and who they were from the comic book. So that would be kind of cool to kind of see that kind of moving forward. Yeah.
The other thing we have in here is that it's, I don't know, like, I like this season, don't get me wrong, but there's so much like in here I kind of like, looking back on, I'm like, that didn't work for me, at least for me. That's just my opinion. I will say that it was kind of odd because at the end of the episode or end of the season, we have all these like varying degrees with her mom, that are so different. Like, it kind of jumps around like, oh, we can be superheroes, we can be gods to them, or we're better than them. And then she's like, let's be heroes, let's be superheroes. And then it's like, I need to let you go and all that. But that's more like self-realization. But I'm like, lady, pick a lane and stick with it.
I think maybe more along, it may have been pacing. I think because all that happens all at one time, or a big portion of that happens all at one time, where she's kind of jumping around. Just to kind of set it up, that we're talking about the scene where they're on the kind of road trip, if you will, for the most part. And the mom is going, like you said, going from one extreme to the next. But something that is known within the character, is mentioned a couple of times, that she does have brain damage. So it could be just chalked up to that. You know, just that she's so indifferent in her head and bounces around, and she is crazy. So it isn't off the wall to kind of go in that spectrum, if you will. But again, it may have just chalked up to more so the direction and the pacing, and maybe if it was a little more stretched out, or she elaborated more on, hey, maybe we should be a hero and we can go do this and go do that, or maybe, and then when she's like, no, I gotta let you go, if it was maybe not so close, like it was later in the season or earlier in the season, maybe it wouldn't have felt so rushed. But you know what? I can kind of see where you came from on that. But no, I mean, overall though, I did like the season. There's a lot of cool things going on. I think more so Jessica Jones than any other incarnation of the Netflix. I think we get a lot of her side characters.
Yeah.
We get a lot of information and a lot of storyline that come off of her side characters, which may be why I like the show so much, that it's different in that regard. You know, you have everything going on with Malcolm and his sex addiction, and then wanting to be with Trish, and then Trish being destructive herself and jealous of the powers that Jessica has, and you know, and then wanting to do more, and then getting addicted to drugs, and then even, what's her name, the lawyer, Jerry, you know, what she deals with. I think maybe towards the end of that, my heart was just going out to the situation.
And she shows why you don't fuck with this one.
Oh, she's fucking wonderful, isn't she? Gotta love Trinity, right? Oh man, she's fantastic. So long story short, she's she's trying to help Jessica out by holding on to a witness. But she's in the middle of the more I think about it, she's dying.
She has ALS.
She has ALS. She has her partners of her firm trying to take
her company
away from her that she more than 90% built. Okay, she has that happening. She's trying to reconnect with Jessica and trying to get Jessica back in the fold, because Jessica is the best at what she does. She's kind of like Wolverine.
And she won't admit it. It's like, that's the only real friend I have.
Yeah, true, absolutely. In the middle of that, she's hiring another firm to come and kind of get involved with Jessica to try to hire her on so she can be indirectly associated with her firm. Yeah. Okay, and then she takes on, like I said, she gets this witness, and she can't have the witness in the safe house, her company's safe house, because her partners are looking for more dirt to kind of kick her out. So she decides to bring her into her own home. Well, this witness is a junkie homeless woman off the street who, of course, the first thing she wants to do is rob her. And then when she's stealing from her, I was like, this freaking chick, what's wrong with her? And then, lo and behold, she tells her that she's also was a nurse, a part of the company that the doctors that did what they did to Jessica, all the testing and everything. And she mentions to Jerry that there was a person that was involved with the company that had the ability to heal people. So, of course, with Jerry wanting to die, she wants to meet this person. Well, long story short, she helps get this person who happens to be in jail at the moment out of jail, okay, and then he heals her, okay, and we think she's healed, but turns out by the end of the season we realize that they were lovers, they were cahoots, the person in jail and the homeless chick, and they rob her of everything she has and bails out on her. All the while, Jerry was thinking she was healed, and she had fallen in love, well, not necessarily fallen in love with, but she has let the person that was staying in her house into her heart. She trusted her. Yeah. They ended up sharing a bed together. Like, she let her in, and we all know that Jerry is so, tight-niched. Okay, she let her in, and then she does her dirty like that. I was just like, wow.
Yeah. It's also amazing to realize how, because we saw bits and pieces of it in season 1, but in here, Jerry's a bit of horn dog.
Oh yeah. Oh, and she's you dancing around, snort. She may be the most interesting character. More and more I think about it.
Yeah.
She was like dancing around with these chicks and snorting coke and
Because she had this moment of, I'm going to die, might as well.
live life.
Yeah, might as well. If I OD.
What does it matter?
Yeah. Also, I just smiled when I saw Foggy walk in for that one scene.
Like, he's my favorite character in Daredevil.
Yeah.
I absolutely love him.
And to find out at the end of her story arc is that she's building her own firm with the money she got from her partners after strong-arming them, which was such a gratifying scene.
Oh, yeah. Thanks to Malcolm.
And now she has Rand, she has Danny on her side. She took Foggy with her. She took all of her other clients.
Yeah, she comes out smelling like roses. She comes out the winner of this. Out of everybody in the season, she comes out, even though she's still dying, she comes out as the winner, to be honest.
Because she has this moment of
Malcolm.
She has this moment of, I'm dying, and I have nothing to lose. But so help me God, I'm going to gut this own company I was a part, this own firm I was a part of.
She took more than 60% of the company, all of the clients.
She literally embodies the hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
And double the money of the severance they offered her. So she literally walked out of there with everything. And she basically tells her former partner, she goes, oh, you'll bounce back someday when I'm dead. I'm like, oh man. And then she's like, well, you can't do that. She goes, do you really want to go toe to toe with someone who has nothing to lose? Think about that. Oh, I mean, she's fantastic. Again, man, there's something about, say what you want about Jessica Jones. You know, some people may think she's dry or don't care, but her support cast, I think, may be the most interesting out of all of the Netflix.
I would not be opposed to having, because I don't think they're they're only in the show, but I would not be opposed to having Hogarth and Malcolm actually a part of the Marvel Universe in the comics.
They're fantastic characters. I mean, thus far, man, I could talk about it all day. Just the little nuances that these guys were going through and just building the story. You know, again, you know, there's a scene with Malcolm where he kind of relapses, not completely. I know it's either you do or you don't. I guess he did, okay, but there's a scene he gets in a fight with a bunch of guys, and he's beaten up really bad, and then what's her name comes in and helps him.
Yeah, Trish.
Trish comes in and helps him, and she's all souped up on the inhaler. And she's like, oh man, you're hurt. If you take this, you'll heal faster. So, you know, him being in pain and whatnot, he takes it. But in a moment of clarity, the second he takes it, he's like, I can't believe I did this.
Yeah, I just fell back in the hole.
Yeah.
Because even and you may be making this argument of, it's just one hit. That's all it takes, you know.
Especially for this drug.
Yeah.
And who knows? And then when we find out what the drug is actually can possibly do to you later on when they talk. Because Trish wants to get it synthesized, essentially. She wants to, when she runs out of it, she wants to get more made, okay? And then she brings it to this company who can kind of break it apart, find out all the compounds of the actual drug, and they're like, yeah, we would never reproduce this. Like 90% of the stuff that's in here could either kill you, cause liver damage, brain damage, lung disease, you name it, it'll do it. It'll even give you like anal leakage, man. It was horrible.
Yeah. The other thing in here, speaking of Trish, is that her mother, wow.
I want to smack that lady.
I was so happy. I had a smile when Trish slapped her, and I was like, just chuck her up.
I clapped. I was sitting here in my seat clapping.
And it's so sad because there's a moment in here where you're almost like, yeah, she's got some character development. And then the moment she goes, pray for my Patsy, the moment I went, fuck you. Because I know people like this. In my life, I've known people and other friends of mine who've had mothers or dads like this, who are like so obsessed with themselves that they don't realize what they're destroying in their lives.
Right.
So,
and even the next scene after the Pray for My Patsy, where she's talking to Jessica to kind of set up the scene again. Trish is basically in a coma, and of course Jessica's blaming herself, wants to do whatever, and she's like, and the two of them are in the room, her mom and Jessica, and she basically tries to hug Jessica and tell Jessica, we're the only family she has left. And then if she dies, we're the only family each other has left. So maybe we need to put our shit aside and be here for her. And then literally, like, maybe not the next scene, but the following scene, she's yelling at the cops, like, if you let her in that room, I'm gonna shove that badge up your ass. I'm like, so quick, you want to hate Jessica again. It's like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
And again, like I had mentioned to you, you know, off camera, that I really, really loved this season. And maybe all the way up until maybe the flashbacks scene, or the flashback episode, I was like, man, I was on the gravy train. This was fantastic. I was like enthralled in everything. And then every episode after that was just okay. So I think it starts off really, really good, and then kind of falls off. It may be done the opposite of the first season.
You can see the cracks by
yes.
Yeah, by the end.
And first season was maybe the other. It was a really slow start and really ramped up towards the end. It was season 1. This one was kind of maybe the opposite, if you will.
Yeah, that was kind of my thing. And, you know, although the Kilgrave episode, because the other thing in here is that they were really dealing with the aftermath of her, you know, killing Kilgrave. Kilgrave.
Yeah, right.
Or Kilgrave. I feel bad for making that joke.
I'll be honest, I'm still hoping that he's still alive somehow.
See, I don't want him to come back, because it's like, it's so much better that, you know, Jessica has to live with that for the rest of her life. And it's, because when people say, oh, Kilgrave's coming back, it's going to be so cool, it's like, he's probably coming back as a hallucination. You know that, right? And I was right.
Yeah, he was right on that. He did come back as a hallucination. And if you've played Batman Arkham City, or Arkham Knight, is basically the relationship Joker and Batman has throughout the whole game is what we get between Kilgrave and Jessica, which is fantastic. And even by the end of it, when she kind of maybe gets rid of him, he's like, I'll be around if you need me.
Yeah, like there's still a small part of her psyche that's like, I still need you.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm with you. That is a fantastic element. But I really dug the character so much that a part of me is like, I hope that he used his power on her to make her think that she broke his neck, and someday he'll pop back up, and you know, we'll have to deal with whatever happens then. But even if not, it is fantastic that at least he's still in the show. She still has to deal with him. Oh, and it gets to the point where she thinks she's choking him, and in real life, she's choking some random dude off the street. So this is something that going into season 3, if it does pop back up. Also,
what I really liked is a nice little nod in the first few episodes when she's about to like kill someone the first episode, and then in the second, you see like in the lights little fractions of purple on her face.
Yeah.
Like, it's a nice little hint that still haunts her. And that
true.
Yeah.
And even the painting that's painted is all painted in purple.
And I think that was the cover artist for the Alias comic.
Alias comic, yes, it was. I caught on to that as well.
Yeah, Oscar, speaking of which, the artist she falls in love, well, kind of in love with.
I want, obviously, she's supposed to be with Luke. We all kind of know that, and it probably are going to get that by the end of it all, but a part of me really liked this normal guy next door that to me he kind of looked like Colin Farrell, which was kind of weird.
I was thinking Enrique Iglesias.
Maybe a mix of the two. I could see that too, but she falls in love with this guy who's, he makes like fake IDs and
I
passports.
said Enrique, not Gabriel Iglesias. Enrique Iglesias.
Enrique, yeah. But she falls in love with her, who happens to be the superintendent for her building.
Yeah.
He's an artist and everything, and they end up sharing a bed. You know, we all know she's a whore. She kind of.
And it's kind of interesting because he's not on her all. Like when she moves on him, he's like, whoa.
Yeah, that was kind of cool too.
He was like, she was even dumbfounded. Like, I thought that's what you wanted. He's like, no.
Yeah, she starts muffling through his belt, like trying to take his pants off. He's like, what are you doing, chick? We just met. Like, calm down. We just started kissing. You're already trying to blow.
And that was a mistake from the get. Like, he realizes that this, you know, this is not a good idea because she's not in a good headspace.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And but it kind of shows to his character that he's genuinely a good guy. He's just doing what he has to do to get by. And in a strange way, we kind of see what he's also doing is helping other people too. Even though it's against the law to make a fake ID, we meet someone who has there's a side character for a split second or two. He owns a convenience store that keeps getting robbed, okay, because he's not a citizen, okay, and even though nothing really comes of it, but we can kind of see him making something to help this guy, because this guy's just a good guy. He just can't be in his country anymore. This is his home now. But if he calls the cops every time he gets robbed, they're going to find out he's not a citizen and boot them out of the country. Yeah. And regardless of what side of the fence you sit on politically on that view, this is still a genuinely good guy trying to provide for his family and for his neighborhood. Okay, but he keeps getting robbed, so he's the victim.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And his kid is not annoying. Yeah, Oscar's kid is not annoying.
Except for when he was hanging out the window.
Yeah.
I think
that was the one where I was like, dude.
I was like, just let him die. Just let him fall.
Yeah.
I was like, if you're gonna hang out the window just because she has superpowers, the kid deserves to die.
Yeah, that's Darwinism 101.
Right, exactly.
But I thought he was pretty not good. The relationship between him and Jessica is pretty fun. It's very cute, and he's very wide-eyed about the whole situation. And he's not like he doesn't go over. Well, out the window seems kind of overboard, but he was never to the point where I was like, just shoot this kid.
Yeah, true.
Also, like, it was interesting to note that Oscar is very much like, because for a moment, I was thinking his kid's got powers. That's why he doesn't want it, because he's afraid they're gonna find out.
Oh, I didn't think of that. That would have been...
Yeah, like, there was a moment where I was like, this kid's probably got powers of his own. That's why he's so interested in superheroes and Jessica and all that, and, you know, why his dad's trying to keep him away from from being found out. And that's where I thought they were going, and I'm kind of surprised they didn't. Like, I'm happily surprised, mind you. Speaking of powers, the scientist in here, Dr. Carl, for a moment, because he puts down a mug that has an octopus on it, I was like, is he working for Hydra? Like,
yeah,
was that a Hydra reference?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Who knows at this point? I mean, he's not with us anymore to know. But
yeah.
But you know, going back to him, I mean, he was fine and all. The direction that they're going with Trish and her powers obviously is not traditional.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure season 3 is going to be Jessica versus Trish.
Yeah, no, I can see that, at least for a portion. You know, the Netflix shows seem to have this, like, 2 arcs thing going on. Like, this section happens, and this is the conflict we're dealing, and then a ramp up towards the end. But I can definitely see some sort of, like, I don't want to say a civil war, but some sort of, like, Tony and Cap kind of thing. Not necessarily Trish.
I was going to say more like a more in-your-face version of what Punisher and
yeah, that is a better, but yeah, because I think we clearly can kind of see, we're not going to spoil the complete ending just yet, but we can kind of see with what Trish does, she has no problems taking the law into her own hands like the Punisher, and we can clearly see that Jessica is not on that side of the law. Yeah. She's not
anymore, because, like, again, this is also interesting because, again, it plays with Black Panthers, that the villains kind of teach the lesson to the hero.
True, that's true.
And that's what Jessica's mom really wanted, is like, I just want you to have a life, and if you be a hero, that's good. That, you're going to help people with these. You have powers, right. Help people with them.
So where the kind of story, just really quick, I'll touch it up, is how it all kind of starts and plays out. Obviously, we said her mom comes back, and you would think, well, why wouldn't Jessica just be like all open-armed about her mom coming back? Well, it turns out that because things Trish is saying, just trying to help people and get to the bottom of the company that hurt her sister, Jessica, she's ruffling the feathers, and people are coming after, trying to notice the doctor. And turns out the doctor that saved Jessica and did these things to Jessica did the same thing to her mother, and her mother was still alive, and they end up falling in love and becoming a couple and getting married. But in order for him to have performed these experiments on her mom to save her life from the accident from when Jessica was a kid, they had to announce her being dead. Yeah. So
the drugs she took made her altered her brain.
Correct. It basically caused brain damage, where she has these severe fits of rage and night terrors, and of course the super duper strength, if you will, because she's way stronger than Jessica. I wouldn't say way stronger, but she's definitely stronger than Jessica, maybe even stronger than Luke. But what happens is that to save her husband, her new husband, she's going around and killing all the experiments, if you will, all the other people and nurses and anyone that has any connection to the story, so that Trish can't interview them or find out more from them. And eventually it starts getting down to Jessica and Trish. They're the last two that are causing her and her new husband to not be happy. And then we kind of get to a flashback episode to find out that when her mom first comes out of her coma and kind of takes off to go find Jessica, she finds Jessica is happy, and it's weird to kind of see her play a happy character. And she's with a man who's, maybe have some sleazebag and tendencies, but overall he seems to like her, she seems to like him, and then through some misunderstandings and her aggression, she ends up killing.
Well, not so much understanding. Her boyfriend was going to turn her into a leg breaker.
Correct, yes, but she also didn't understand that I do feel that they did love each other. He just wanted a damn club. I mean, he was selfish in that regard. I don't necessarily think he was just with her because she had powers. At least that's just how I took it. But even if so, regardless, the dude didn't deserve to get his head bashed into a wall 1,500 times. So anyway, her mom kills the guy, and, you know, this is kind of how Jessica finds him, just in a bloody heap. And that's when her heart breaks, and she really becomes the Jessica we know and love, or not love. She just becomes this cynical, you know, this horrible human being, if you will, of a person. And then when she finds out her mom tells her the story. She goes, I killed your boyfriend. So the first thing Jessica does is knocks her out pretty much, and punches her square in the face. So this is why Jessica doesn't just go, oh, mommy, you're home, you're back. She goes, no, you're a killer. You've been killing these people. You killed my boyfriend, you know.
And you're dating the guy who essentially ruined my life.
You're dating Dr. Frankenstein, essentially.
Yeah.
You're dating the guy who caused all of my problems from day one. And her mom is trying to explain to her that this isn't how it is. So that's kind of the relationship. So where, like I said before, it's like you want to stop your mom from killing these people and stop your stepdad, or whatever you want to call him, this guy that's causing, in your mind, you know, all these bad things. And there's even a flip side to his coin. He's not doing this. He's not evil. He's not a bad guy.
He recognizes that this is not, you know, the way.
Ideal. Like, yeah, he understands what he's doing is not ideal, and it's not quite going the way he planned, but he's legitimately trying to help people and help the world.
Yeah.
Okay, he's just maybe not going about it the right way, or there is some side effects to what he's doing. So yes, he did save Jessica's life. He did save, you know, her mother's life and all these people's lives, but to what expense? Like there's you know, a Jekyll side to all of this.
Yeah. Again, like it's very Frankenstein, like you said, and it's interesting because again, he's warped. Let's not make this guy a saint, but in a weird way, if it hadn't been for him, you know, Jessica and her mother would not be around. Having said that, though, he was messing with forces he didn't fully comprehend.
For sure.
He comes to the realization that I need to be stopped. You're right.
Yeah, he understands he'll never stop unless someone stops him.
Yeah. And I love that because there's a moment where he points the gun, and I couldn't help but think back to Bride of Frankenstein, where he's like, "We belong dead." Like I had that scene in my head when I watched it.
Nah, that's a pretty good reference, though.
Yeah. So I guess for the final end, unless there's something else planned, it looks like next season is going to be Trish versus Jessica.
Right. Well, there's one last thing before we wrap up here that this all leads to that really, like, I jumped out of my seat. I couldn't believe what had just happened. So, like we've already said, it's kind of this situation where Jessica has to decide, like, do I go with my mom because she's my mom? Or do I, you know, do what's right, or do, because she's my mom, just be with my mom? And while she's still fighting with herself, dealing with this situation, out of nowhere, and again, this is big time spoiler alert, her mom is shot and popped right in the head, dead, right there in front of all, and we're just like, what the hell? And the first thing that, because they're being chased by the cops, so the first thing you think, oh, SWAT team got up to her. Okay, and this is also another thing where I think it was maybe kind of rushed, because it turns out that somehow Trish came from out of a coma, still in a hospital in the morgue, because that's where they have her set up, and then all of a sudden she knows exactly where to find them in Rochester, New York, from what, Manhattan, roughly, where Jessica normally is, to Rochester, which isn't just like, you can't just get there like that. And then she's there, and she's the one that shot her and killed her mom, popped her right in the head, dead. Jessica knows, so Jessica looks over and sees her and jumps down to confront her, and actually,
like, she had to stop herself.
She had to stop herself from killing her sister, if you will.
Yeah.
So like at this point, you're just like, what the hell?
And Trish is like, she was a monster. She needed to be put down. She was
Right.
gonna hurt you, and she's like, I had it under control. You fucked everything.
Yeah, and she's like, it had to be done. And Jessica basically tells her, yeah, maybe it did, but it didn't have to be done by you. That wasn't your place.
Yeah.
Which is also kind of funny because in not such an extreme scenario, her mom, Trish's mom, is a monster.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny how they parallel each other so well.
Yeah.
And it really did wrap up really like, oh my God, what are they going to, they're at each other's throats. And it's very interesting.
Yeah. And I like how this show and the season ends with Jessica in a better mindset. Well, it's still Jessica, but
Right.
she's now like open to the idea of being something more.
Or just at least trying to be happy.
Yeah. And have a new status, because that's the thing. I've noticed these new status quos for each character. Like Punisher got a new status quo of, what do I do now? Now that everyone I've hated is dead, but obviously next season,
Right.
which I'm hoping for the Nucci family to be the villains,
Right.
And then you've got Matt where he is. I don't care about Iron Fist.
It'll get better, man. They're gonna fire the guy that directed that because he's the same guy that did the Inhumans and that bomb too. There's no way they're gonna keep the same director. So I feel the next season will get better.
Yeah.
At least I hope so.
But yeah, it's these new status quos for each character, and I like that. And it's because Jessica still has her own demons, but now she's fighting past them. You
Right.
know, and she even says to the Kilgrave hallucination, "That's what I'm not a killer, and that's why I'll always be better than you." But having said that, though, at the same
better than all of you.
Better,
she says.
yeah.
She says better than you, and then she rebuttals better than all of you.
Yeah.
So like meaning her mom, and the doctor, and maybe even Trish at this point. To be honest with you.
Yeah, and Kilgrave again. The Kilgrave has that line of "I'll be here when you need me." So it's almost like in a weird way, her subconscious has like this. Kilgrave is like her weird security blanket in a way, and that's really fucked up. But considering all the mental torment he put her through,
Yeah, that she's using him to help keep her in check to a certain degree. I mean, he's still clearly a powerful influence enough to get her to choke out that other dude. But moving forward, it's going to be fantastic because we actually end with Jessica basically knocking on her neighbor's door, the superintendent, her boyfriend, if you will, who has a son, and she kind of sits down for dinner, like almost like the stepmom, if you will. And her boyfriend, the neighbor, he's like, are you sure? He says, well then it's always open. Yeah. So, and then they have this wonderful story at the dinner table of her throwing a bottle at a robber's head.
And a chunky robber's head.
Yeah, right. So it turned out that she was open to being happy again. And the scene previous to that, she's basically telling Trish, get out of my life.
Yeah.
And then just after that, her and Malcolm unfortunately walk by and don't even say a word to each other. Yeah. And that kind of broke my heart because I love the two of them together. But one thing I was thinking is, I don't remember, and I want to ask you this here, maybe the people watching the video can remind me, the Kingpin's wife, she ran an art museum. Does she still have that? Did she go to jail too? I don't remember what happened to her.
Fisk kept her out of jail with the money he
Okay,
had.
so do you think that where his art gallery is going to be up, do you think that would be kind of cool?
That would actually be
because they mentioned that it's going up in a gallery.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, how cool would that be if it was there? And
it was Vanessa's art gallery.
Right, and we get Kingpin somehow popping up in Jessica Jones in season 3. Like, wouldn't that be pretty dope?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if she's still around and if she still has that gallery, I'm hoping that they put 2 and 2 together and put his artwork in her gallery just so that we have more, that weave the shows together. One last bad thing, though, I have to say about this is I myself, as I'm sure most of us that follow the MCU, and then Netflix U, whatever you want to call it, I love even if it's the smallest connective tissue to each other, I love that, and I don't really feel this season was probably the most in itself. It doesn't really bring any ties. Unless it was maybe artwork on the wall or another newspaper clipping, nothing that even talked about the movies.
Well, again, it's probably
let
because
alone the
of
other
Disney
shows.
and Netflix parting ways for their own.
Yeah, it probably is that, but I still, just little nuances makes me happy. Like in the first Daredevil, just to see the chart, the Chitauri invasion newspaper clipping on the wall. That was enough for me to know, yes, they're in the same universe. Because we already know we're not getting them, unfortunately, in Infinity War.
We're not getting Avengers Defenders War.
Yeah, we're not, unfortunately, not going to get that. Or they're not going to be in Infinity War.
As much as we'd love to see like a little cameo, like New York's getting fucked over, and you see like Luke Cage and Jessica like saving people.
Right. Just, I mean, God, I want that so bad. Even if it doesn't, we don't get it in the movie, it would be awesome to be able to see.
Like a little montage of all the heroes, like you see like Chitauri like rummaging through Jessica's office, then you just see him go flying out down the hallway. And Jessica's like cracking her knuckles, like,
yeah, that would be.
Oh, you picked a bad day.
And even if it was just one of them, I would just totally fanboy geek out. Even if it was the worst end of it, if it was Iron Fist, I would still
or like have a scene where the Chitauri or whatever aliens are, attacking the street, and then you just see a fist start glowing.
Yeah.
And then they all just go flying across.
That would be enough for me. But but even though there's no connective tissue to the MCU. And there's barely any real connective tissue to the rest of the shows, other than we did get Foggy. And what's his name? The gun.
Yeah, Turk.
And Turk is in it as well. So other than that, we didn't really get any other connection.
Yeah, no Claire. I was surprised by it.
Yes, I was just gonna say no Night Nurse. We didn't get Night Nurse this time around. But guys, yeah, I mean, overall, I would say go check it out if you haven't. Binge watch it. That's what pretty much I did. I split it between 2 days, but.
Same here.
Yeah, but it was awesome. I dug it. It's in the top of the Netflix for me personally. I don't know where it falls for you.
I don't know. Like I don't keep my number one's still Daredevil season 1.
I understand it. It's freaking Daredevil.
Well,
and Punisher.
Daredevil season 2, man. I mean, not season 2, season 1 is just like solid.
No, it's beyond that. No, I totally get it. It's just again, I mean, for me, it ranks at the top. Along with the Daredevils of the world. Those are my 2 favorites.
Yeah.
But, well, guys, go ahead and check it out. Until next time.
See you once again in the universe.